Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about the attempted cooperation of Michael Roman, who was the director of election operations for the Trump camp in the wake of the election itself. This, I think, is a pretty big deal. So we've been trying to follow whether, in fact, Jack Smith is about the business of building a separate case based in January 6th activity and focused in particular on the false electors. That to me has always seemed like a manageable case, one that doesn't involve First Amendment issues or other potential gnarly claims of political speech. And rather than the overall sprawling and really humongous January 6th events themselves, is a piece that he can just sort of take out and bring. That is not to say that he will not bring the rest of it eventually, but this is one that potentially he could bring forward in fairly short order, and indications are that he might be doing just that. Now, we've been following this already, as in recent weeks, false electors from various states, especially Arizona, have been brought to the grand jury in Washington. One of them, we know, actually sent an email saying, "Oh, all right, so we're just sending the false electors and the phony ones, and then that'll make an argument that these fake electors are the real thing." And he later did this elector scramble to say, "Oh, maybe it's better to call them alternate electors," smiley face emoji. So they have, and this is just the one we know about. So I think they've been going at the false electors themselves. Now, the big question, however, since that doesn't get to the real evil of January 6th, and B, since other states have been pursuing them, is whether or not Smith is thinking about a case that combines the false electors with activity in Washington, D.C. And I think we can say from the events of the last few days, oh, yes, he is. Most particularly, before the report about Roman, his deputy, Gary Michael Brown, was seen walking in to the grand jury, and we learned that he testified. Now, it's not too hard to put two and two together as a prosecutor and say what happened is just the kind of dynamic you want and prosecutors really endeavor to create. Roman was like, "Oh, crap." And he immediately called up the government, and he didn't go in to cooperate to testify the way his deputy had the day before. He went in to give a proffer. That is, his lawyer went in to say, "Here's what, if you'll give me a deal as you apparently gave to my deputy," because, and I said this at the time, seems no way that Brown, the deputy, just saunters in and testifies because he has real criminal exposure. He and Roman are totally all over the pressuring of various state electors, and they're really in the center of things. So this is the director saying, "Listen, hear me out." The exact dynamic that you want to create as a prosecutor, you want people to come in first and tell them you're going to get the best deal if you come in first, to induce them to come in first. And that also induces other cooperators. So the fact that we learned just the day after Brown, his deputy, had testified that Roman sent his lawyer in to make a proffer. He's now selling. He's not buying. To say, "Here's what I could tell you. Would you maybe make a deal too?" That's the way these transactions work. And just to take a step back of what we are fanning out to, we know from previous emails and other reports, you're aware, I think, of the general false elector scheme. Let's just have an alternate slate that represents, in some cases, some states were more prudent and said things like if the courts rule it's okay. But some states just said, yep, we're the duly elected electors of this state. We are for Donald Trump. Our state has gone for Donald Trump. Lie, lie, and more lie. And that means fraudulent scheme. That means scheme to defraud the United States under a so-called Section 371. And these guys we know are working with Boris Epstein, you remember him, Jenna Ellis, Rudy Giuliani. There's an indication that one of the electors has been in personal touch with the then President of the United States, Donald Trump. And in a conspiracy, you get everybody together who agrees to pursue the same unlawful goal. That's the real sort of guts of the conspiracy. And then take some action. Doesn't have to be the same action, just some action in furtherance of it. So it really looks like, just from what's being sketched out in the press and the latest appearances, and remember, it's always just we get what we get, and there could be a whole mountain of evidence behind it. We know they've been looking into this for a little over a year. It looks as if a false elector conspiracy with electors who are cooperating, with director of operations who wants to cooperate, deputy director of operations who wants to cooperate, and implicating all kinds of people very close to the president, the then president for starters, and very possibly the president themselves, that Smith is about the business of putting together, probably quickly, that's how he works, probably with a mind of knowing that with Eileen Cannon and the Mar-a-Lago case, it could drag on, and this would be an insurance policy of sorts, that another case, and this one involving January 6th itself, could in fact go forward, if it comes to it, even before the other. Fairly big news, and this is just what we infer from what we do know. So more will be happening, and I think soon. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.